So good morning again, everyone.
Good morning.
It is the top of the morning, yes. Today we are continuing our series of rhetorical devices with some more about organization. And this time we're looking at Metabasis. So we'll move on now to slide number 1. So Metabasis, basically, it is used to sum up a body of work that has come before in order to move to a new point. Now, what that means is you might have just touched on 3 or 4, 5, 6 points previously, right? And now you're going to move on to a different, possibly different side of the argument. Maybe you're changing your strategy slightly in your paper, but you want to basically sum up all those points succinctly so that the reader remembers what you're writing about before you move on to the next item. Okay? Typically, it is good to use in long papers of more than 4 pages. You don't really use it very much in papers that are fewer than 4 pages. However, you can, but we'll talk about why it's not as good to do in shorter papers as it is in longer papers as we go on in this presentation. Questions so far? Are we ready to move on?
No. Yes.
Are we ready to move on now?
Yes.
Okay. Slide number 2. Why would you use Metabasis? Well, sometimes it's helpful to recap ideas after a few pages. Even if you're not moving on to a new point, sometimes if you have a long paper, it's a good idea to let the reader know what you have been talking about for the last few pages. Because sometimes the thread of an argument can be lost. So you might have your thesis statement and then your body paragraph, but within that body paragraph you might have 2 or 3 other, or excuse me, not within the body paragraph, but after the first body paragraph, you might have 2 or 3 other paragraphs that might simply be clarifying something in that body paragraph. So then you would want to then use Metabasis to then restate what that body paragraph was about and how it related to your thesis, again, after you've gone off on a tangent, right? So if you've gone off on a tangent in your paper, it's useful to bring the reader back to what you were supposed to be talking about in the first place. It can also tell a reader exactly what you are doing and that you're ready to move on from this line of thought or this argument. It says, this is what I've been arguing, and now we're going to talk about another thing. Right? Questions so far? No questions?
No.
All right, ready to move on?
Yes.
It can also sum up the ideas that you've been writing about before bringing up a contrasting viewpoint. Okay? So valuable when you are, say, using counterpoints to an argument. See, some of the ones you had then indicate you're going to move on to a counterpoint. It can also be used and is sometimes effectively used as a transitional paragraph or a conclusion within the essay itself. So you might have, we've talked about transitional sentences between paragraphs. Sometimes you have whole paragraphs that are the transition between two ideas. Okay? And along those lines as well, Metabasis can indicate a transition in your paper, right? A transition that includes summing up what came before and letting the person know what's coming next. See what I used just there? Anybody pick up on it? No. What rhetorical device did I just use? No.
Before procanalepsis.
So, do you even know what I just said, or are you just shouting out random things? So let me repeat what I just said. Bastion, you got it. Yes.
It was a rhetorical question.
I said no. What did I say? I said it can be used to indicate a transition that leads from anadiplosis, the one we just did. Yes. Okay. That was the first time I said it. I used conduplicatio, but I don't remember exactly what I said the first time, so I changed it slightly the second time and turned it into anadiplosis. So it's all right. You can look at the video and see. Go home and do that tonight. See what we did. Anyway, moving on. It can also alert the reader to a potential change in the topic or the tone. When the bell rings. So typically, if you're about to change the tone of something, you're going to summarize what you were talking about before, and then you're going to transition into the next topic or the next tone. Okay? Understandable so far?
Yeah.
Questions, anyone, about this? Are we ready to move on? Okay, good. We're moving on then. Slide number 4. Some cautions to use. This is what I was talking to you about before in shorter and longer papers, okay? When it's actually really only one caution, but that's okay. If you use it in shorter papers, you can actually insult your reader. Because basically you're telling your reader that, you know what, I don't think you can follow my train of thought over these 2 pages, these 2 short pages that I've written, so therefore I'm going to sum up what I just said, therefore insulting your intelligence as a reader.
What if you're insulting yourself and just saying you're a bad writer and you need to make sure that they got it?
Then you would indicate that in your paper so that the reader wouldn't get insulted.
I'll be sure to do that.
Okay.
In the middle of the thing, I'm an idiot, I apologize, but I'm going to be fast.
Yeah, totally like not the right spot. I just break them in.
But if people knew how not to insult someone, then maybe people wouldn't be so insulted
You should be
about
able to
them.
say what you want. You're not trying to say you're looking at shit in 10 minutes. I hate
Oh, I know how to not
don't
insult
take offense to it. You're not trying to
That's no fun.
Well, then just say, I'm sorry, and move on. I said, I'm sorry that this offends you, and then move on. It's a discussion for another time then. Now, are we ready for some examples? I think you are. Do we have any questions yet? Okay. First example. Don't worry about writing examples down, just look at them. There'll be a shorter one that you can write down if you'd like. I have laid out for you neatly and in proper order the various flaws in the current system. Let me next offer you workable alternatives. So you have summed up what you just talked about, and you're letting them know what's coming next. Right? Can you see that Yes.
Those poor writing to use pronouns.
Oh, the first person pronouns? It depends on what you're writing for.
Oh, no, I'm not ready.
Sometimes it's okay. Here's another example.
Oh, wait,
Don't worry about writing these ones down. Okay?
I was halfway.
The previous passages explain when they got here and who brought them. The next quotation shows how and why they made the journey. Right? What came before, what's coming after. Yes? Don't even bother trying to write this one down, it's too long. You might, I don't know if you can read or not, but I will read aloud to you anyway. Shh, quiet please. I have discussed various reasons that show why we need to vote for a new president of this company. Our present leader has run the organization for 12 years. She has not had any profitable ideas. I see that, yes, thanks. She has not had any profitable ideas in years. Her salary has doubled since 2005. The company's stock has not moved, and her daughter has been hired as a consultant. But last week, the final incident occurred that has led me to recommend that she be replaced. So you've summed it up just after work yesterday. So you've summed it up, right? So you've summed it up, gone through all your points, and then you've said what's coming next, right?
Yes.
Understandable?
Yes.
Good. Questions? Awesome. That'll be the end of that one.
Bye.